CAST AI is a multi-cloud platform that helps you manage, optimize, and secure your Kubernetes clusters. Even better, it has a native Terraform provider that helps you integrate CAST AI into your existing Terraform workflows. Let's check it out. What's up, everybody? I'm Ned Bellavance, and welcome to another Terraform Tuesday. Today, we're going to be talking about optimizing Kubernetes clusters with CAST AI. Specifically, we're going to see how we can deploy an AKS cluster with Terraform and include the CAST AI installation as part of the process. Then we'll explore what CAST AI can do for us when it comes to optimizing our cluster for both cost and security. Big thanks to CAST AI for sponsoring this episode. If it piques your interest, you can check out the link down in the description to learn more about CAST AI and start a free trial. Speaking of which, what is CAST AI to begin with? CAST AI is a service that monitors your Kubernetes clusters and provides a dashboard tracking cost, security, and efficiency. Even though we'll be focusing on AKS clusters for this episode, CAST AI works across any Kubernetes cluster, regardless of where it's running. CAST AI doesn't just provide tracking information and insights. It also allows you to take action on those insights by optimizing your cluster. That includes right-sizing the nodes in your node pool, taking advantage of spot instances, and even rebalancing the workloads across your cluster for better bin packing. Since CAST AI has access to the details of your nodes and your workloads, it can also provide some security insights. This includes best practices for securing your nodes, as well as identifying any vulnerabilities in your workloads. Now, that feature is currently in preview, but I can see it as being a huge benefit to deploying CAST AI instead of adding another security tool to your existing stack. So, how do we get started with CAST AI? By using Terraform, of course. Over in VS Code, I have the Terraform Tuesday repository open, and I've got a folder dedicated for this. Inside the folder, I've got a configuration for deploying the AKS cluster. In the main.tf file, I'm using two modules to deploy an AKS cluster. The first module lays down the networking for the AKS cluster with a single subnet for the node pool. The second module is for the AKS cluster itself, and I've kept it deliberately simple. It's using the defaults from the AKS module with RBAC enabled and a single node pool. When CAST AI reached out to me about sponsoring this episode, I was excited to see that they already had a Terraform provider. Honestly, I'm kind of surprised when a SaaS company doesn't have a Terraform provider, but even better than that, CAST AI has a Terraform module that makes it dead simple to get their solution deployed, and the documentation for it is excellent. The provider requires that we have a valid API token and URL, so let's get one of those now. I'm going to switch over to the CAST AI website, and I'm already logged in with my account. Clicking on the API link, I can generate API access keys for my account. I'll click on Create Access Key and grant it full access. Once the key is generated, I'll copy it and then paste it into the tf-vars file I already have prepared. The module uses the CAST AI provider along with Azure RM, Azure AD, and the Helm provider to perform the installation. That means we need to have each of those providers configured as well. Azure RM is ready to go from the AKS pieces, and Azure AD doesn't technically need a provider block, but we do need the Helm provider to be configured with the cluster info. Below the Helm provider is the CAST AI module, which takes information about the AKS cluster, the CAST AI tenant, and the desired node configurations. Now, once again, I've kept it pretty simple, but once you've started to use CAST AI, you may have a standard template or configuration for the nodes that you'd like to apply programmatically. The module creates a service principal for CAST AI to use and a custom role with the necessary permissions on the AKS cluster. It also installs the CAST AI agent and controller on the cluster, which provides the additional features of rightsizing, rebalancing, and autoscaling. I'll go ahead and kick off the deployment using Terraform init to get things ready, and then Terraform apply to deploy the resources. I'm using my Azure CLI credentials to authenticate, but this could also use a service principal or OIDC in an automated pipeline context. The deployment will take a while since we're deploying a full AKS cluster, so I'll skip ahead to the end and show you the CAST AI dashboard. The deployment is complete, and if we jump over to the CAST AI dashboard, we can see the new cluster has been added. Now, since it's brand new and doesn't have much in the way of historical data, CAST AI isn't going to have much to say yet. Fortunately, I have another cluster that's been running for a while, so we can use the information from that one to take a tour of the CAST AI interface. Now, clicking on the cluster gives me a bird's eye view of the cluster details, including nodes, CPU utilization, and memory usage. I can also check out a trend chart that shows me historical usage over the last day, week, or month. The basic monitoring components here are all available on the free tier, and I'll get to the different pricing tiers a little bit later. Below the dashboard are the cost monitoring, autoscaler, and rebalancer, as well as the audit log. Let's dig into the autoscaler portion first, and then I'll come back to cost monitoring. Autoscale and rebalance are two really cool features. They're also paid features, so keep that in mind. CAST AI will provide actionable data to you for free, but applying that information with their tooling automatically is where you start paying some money. Fortunately, those changes often save you money, so it might be a wash or better. Under Autoscaler settings, there are 3 available policies to enable. The unscheduled pods policy will automatically scale the number of nodes in the cluster to make sure that all the scheduled pods have somewhere to run. It uses a template to decide what kind of additional nodes to add, and that can include both on-demand nodes and spot nodes, where the spot nodes will typically be cheaper, but your workload needs to be able to handle a spot node being yanked away. You can also add constraints to the node instance selection to limit the max CPU or memory for a given instance. Having too large of an instance might save you some money because you've packed your containers more tightly, but it's also more disruptive if that instance fails or is removed. The unscheduled pods policy works to expand the cluster when needed, and the node deletion policy helps to slim down the cluster when those additional nodes are no longer needed. If a node is empty, this policy will remove it, and you can be more aggressive by having the evictor reschedule pods to create empty nodes that can be evicted from the cluster. The last policy puts an upper limit on how large the cluster can grow from a CPU and memory perspective. That's probably a good thing to have in case there's a runaway scheduling event that causes the unscheduled pods policy to scale the cluster beyond what you're comfortable with or you can pay for. Where Autoscaler is focused on scaling up and down the number of nodes in your cluster, the rebalancer is focused on replacing existing nodes with an optimized instance type based on the current workloads. The optimized type favors the most cost-effective node type based on current market prices, and it does so by spinning up new instances, rescheduling pods, and evicting old instances. You could do this manually by generating a plan or have the rebalancer run on a schedule. While the autoscaler and rebalancer do have a cost optimization component, they also have an availability and resiliency component. Unscheduled pods won't just sit there hoping someone notices them, and you can limit the node size to ensure the blast radius of a single node failure isn't too high. Of course, there's also the cost component, which we should check out. Cost monitoring is broken up by cluster, workload, and namespaces, so you can view your current and historical costs at the cluster level, which is helpful if you only have a single team using the cluster, or you can check out the costs based on workloads, which are things like deployments or daemon sets. If you tend to group things by namespace, you can break out costs that way as well, or if you have an application made up of microservices across multiple namespaces and workloads, you can create an allocation group based on a filtered set of namespaces and labels. If you're trying to track the costs of a given service or application, or even trying to do chargeback to a group, this is super useful information. You could also use it to spot inefficiencies introduced by code updates. Maybe we updated the shopping cart service last week, and ever since it's been costing twice as much to run without any additional load. Perhaps something weird is going on with that code update. We should check that out. And if you're trying to figure out how your costs have changed over time or whether a rebalancing of resources truly helped, you can run a cost comparison to decide. Another category I want to mention is security. This is currently in beta, but it makes a lot of sense to me. CAST AI already knows an awful lot about your cluster, including the current configuration, the node operating system status, and the images being used. Using that information, CAST AI can give you some insight into best practices that are being followed by the cluster. Oops, looks like I got an issue with host namespace sharing. I should probably look into that later. If you install their security agent, it can also track image usage on the cluster and look for vulnerable images. Under Node OS Update, you can use CAST AI to schedule your Node OS updates on a regular basis. Now, AKS has an option to do this as well, so how you decide to do OS updates is kind of up to you. Now, I thought I'd take a moment to show you how the Autoscale and Rebalancer work by adding some load to my existing cluster. Over in VS Code, I have a Terraform configuration that deploys an Apache web app with a horizontal autoscaler that starts at 5 instances and scales up to a maximum of 60. Below that, I have a load generator deployment that makes constant requests against the Apache service. Now, right now I have the replicas set to 1, but let's bump that up to 100 and see what happens. Over in the Azure portal, I only have 3 nodes running in the cluster. 1 for system mode and 2 for user mode. Looking at the deployments, it quickly ramps up to about 50 pods, then it hangs for a while, and that's because we've hit the CPU limit for the nodes. The autoscaler from CAST AI is going to kick in after a few moments and spin up additional nodes to handle the load. In fact, it looks like it already spun up 2 more nodes. Jumping ahead a little bit, the number of PHP pods also starts to increase in reaction to the requests that come from the load generator. This in turn causes yet another node to be created, and now we're up to 6 nodes in total. Jumping ahead to when all the PHP and load generator pod requests have been satisfied, we now land at 7 total nodes. Going over to the CAST AI node list, it shows all the nodes along with their age, cost, and resource usage. Given this additional load, how do I know if my standard F2S V2 size is still the best bang for my buck? Well, I can run a rebalancer plan and see what it says. I'll kick off a plan from the rebalancer screen, and after a few minutes, I get my answer. The cluster configuration for this level of usage is optimal, so no rebalancing is recommended. Now let's see what happens when I shed some load. I'll change the replicas to 10 instead of 100 and apply the change. After a little bit of time, the load generator is down to 10 pods, and eventually the PHP autoscaler will start reducing its pod count as well. That takes at least 6 minutes or so. Even with that change, it won't start reducing my node count, at least not right away. To do that, I have to enable the evictor options in CAST AI. Checking the box will tell CAST AI to review the current load on the cluster, cordon and shift pods off of some of the nodes, and evict them from the cluster until we're at a reasonable number of nodes. Going over to the node list, almost immediately, fresh pods are deployed to some nodes, and then other nodes are cordoned, and once all the pods have been shut down, the nodes are deleted. Now let's set things back to the way they were. I'll update the replicas to 1, and then apply the configuration, and then, taking a look back at the node list, 2 more nodes are going to disappear, taking us down to 4 nodes in the cluster, which is 1 more than we started with. Eventually, that extra node would be scaled down, but let's run a rebalance plan instead. I'll kick off a plan, and after a few moments, it comes back and tells me that we can scale down to 3 nodes again. I'll click on Rebalance to approve the plan, and now it will go through the process of creating new nodes, rebalancing the pods, and deleting the old nodes. The rebalancing does complete successfully, but if we go and look at the node count a little bit later, it looks like the PHP app finally dropped back down to 5 pods, and the evictor got us down to 2 cluster nodes instead of 3. So we're saving some money here. Between the autoscaler and the rebalancing function, I was able to handle additional load as needed while making sure my nodes were running the optimal size and type. This is pretty useful stuff. You might be wondering how big the footprint for the CAST AI components are on your cluster, and the answer is it's pretty small. Looking at the cost monitoring area, it clearly shows that the CAST AI agent is running about $15 a month, and that's the shared cost relative to the rest of the cluster. The more workloads you're running on your cluster, the less of a share the CAST AI components will cost. It is only 2 pods after all. What's cool is you can isolate the cost of a given workload and charge or show back as necessary to your application teams. What about pricing? Well, the free tier has an awful lot included. Here's the current pricing breakdown. Free gets you cost monitoring, recommendations, and best practices security report for unlimited clusters. Unlimited clusters. Not bad. Growth throws in auto-scaling, rebalancing, and the spot instance automation. The last 2 levels add more capacity for automation, better support, and, enterprise class stuff. Honestly, just enrolling your existing clusters in the free tier might help you glean some insight, even if you decide to use the built-in auto-scale features of your cloud provider or the open source project Carpenter. All in all, I was really impressed by what CAST AI has to offer. Otherwise, I wouldn't have taken the sponsorship. So many companies these days are using multiple cloud providers and looking to control costs while also staying secure. CAST AI can help with all of those goals and do so for free if you're just looking for actionable information. Even better, it has a Terraform provider and a Terraform module to make the deployment simple and include it in your existing workflow. If you're interested in taking CAST AI for a spin, please use the link down in the description to start optimizing your first cluster for free. Thanks so much for watching, and thanks to CAST AI for sponsoring this video. Until next time, keep calm and Terraform on.